Food. How do we turn food into a problem? So some folks take, and I'll use another example. I'll go back to the rural example. So in West Virginia, when we talk about rural, we make it a problem of poverty, right? And when we talk about rural in New Mexico, we talk about distance, colonization, sovereignty. And so we make this idea of rurality into a different problem depending on where we are. So we problematize words, right? So again, it's not just the word, but it's how you make it into a problem. Simple as that. And there are more examples I'll give later on. Narratives are really about stories. What stories do we tell to support our problem? And that one's pretty clear because we use that a lot. And then last are claims. So once we take an idea and we problematize it and we tell stories about it, we also make claims, arguments. So claims are arguments. Okay? So I hope that's as clear as mud. Try to hold on to those ideas. So as I've done interviews with you all and focus groups, these are the narratives that I've identified. This is not all of them. I'm not even claiming or arguing that they're correct. This is what I have discerned in my conversations with all of you all. And so at this point, we have about 11 of them, I think, right? So at the top is food is medicine. And it seems like food is medicine falls out into two different claims. So one, food is medicine, focuses on the land-body connection. And I think that's a very distinct narrative in New Mexico. The other, food is medicine narrative, is about nutrition, knowledge, and diet. Then we get to food production. How are we producing food in New Mexico? Where is it coming from? How are we getting that food moved around the state of New Mexico? Then there's another set of narratives around food sovereignty. We have conversations about food access, nutrition, and environmental issues, land, soil, and water. In the middle, I put poverty and hunger, right? So that's about 11 different narratives. And this is on the piece of paper in front of you. And so what you're probably thinking now is, I don't recognize any of those, or, ooh, she left this one out, or maybe she got this one wrong. But this is what I've heard from you. It does not mean that I am correct, and it may mean that I'm missing something. So what's our next slide? So problematizing again. So I want you to think about those narratives and how we have problematized this idea of food in New Mexico. So one of the ways to think about problematizing is to ask, what is that problem? How are we representing food as a problem? Are we representing food as a problem when we claim it's about food sovereignty? Are we representing food as a problem in New Mexico when we say we don't have enough production? We're sending our food outside New Mexico and not using the food in New Mexico. So what is the problem exactly with food? And in terms of your group or the way you think about it, what claims are you making? Another way to think about problematizing, and I think this one is particularly interesting, is you have a policy. So you've been trying to pass a policy for about 4 years now that will feed every kid in every elementary school, which, by the way, congratulations, New Mexico got that legislation passed. But let's say you have another policy you're working on right now. So you have a policy, but you've got to attach it to claims and a narrative. So now, what's a policy we're working on in the state of New Mexico for food? Anybody? I know there's one. I heard something recently. Just can't remember. Yeah.
Healthier food in schools, public schools.
Okay, so now we have food in schools. We got that done, but we want it to be healthier.
We want more access in terms of people being able to get their food in schools.
Okay, so you added on a problematization. So we want healthier food in schools, and we want it because of what? You have to be able to attach that to a claim or a set of arguments. So some people might say, we want healthier food in our schools because chronic diseases are on the rise in New Mexico. And some people might say, we want healthier food in our schools because we have a right to it. We stopped eating food the way we did hundreds of years ago in New Mexico, so it's a food sovereignty issue. So we want that food in our schools, and we want people to understand that it's an issue of sovereignty. So this is problematization. Also, I think it's important to remember when you make a claim about that policy or food, you are going to exclude certain solutions and include others implicitly. So let's see, I'll give you an example. When you pass the bill about food in schools for elementary kids, right? So I think I recall some people saying that was about food sovereignty. We needed that bill to pass for issues of food sovereignty. Eventually, when it passed and the bill was written, those kinds of ideas were left out, but you got the bill passed. But you got the bill passed based on the claims and the framing and the arguments from another group that's in existence in the state of New Mexico. So you had a policy, you got it passed, and then certain kinds of solutions, claims, and arguments were left out, and others were included to support that policy. So how you problematize something can either kill your policy, it can make your policy take off, but it can exclude and include certain ideas.